This video is sponsored by Western Rise. Use discount code ODI to get 15% off your entire order. It's a bold claim to say that anything is perfect, especially when you're on a platform like YouTube. Now, I've been reviewing bags for over 4 years now, and that's anything from small, like little hip and fanny packs to travel bags for one bag travel, all the way up every once in a while to bags that are comically oversized that really have no practical use for anybody at all. Now, I've made videos in the past about some of my favorite bags like the Manal Carry-On 3.0 and Daily 3.0, a powerhouse combo that I truly feel doesn't get enough love, respect, or recognition in the EDC and gear world. I've even made videos about the WANDRD Prvke in the past, but never on my channel have I ever made a claim saying that this specific bag is completely perfect. I have said in certain reviews of certain products and bags that they're close to being perfect, but nothing has ever actually checked the box of being a perfect backpack for me. Now, I've even gone so far to make a video on my channel ranking every single bag that I've ever reviewed on a tier list, giving you a little bit of an idea of some of the bags that would come close to this perfect title that I'm claiming. Now, if I had to pick just one bag that I would call truly perfect, if I had to, I don't think it would be that hard of a decision for me, because there's only one bag that really stands out above all the others that I've ever reviewed and talked about as being perfect, and that is the WANDRD Prvke. Prvke has been reviewed by just about every single gear and backpack reviewer on YouTube, and for good reason. And when I was scrubbing some of those reviews in preparation for my own video, I realized that most people don't have a lot of negative things to say about this pack, and the ones that they do say pretty much are universally agreed upon as being some of the flaws that this bag has. And though I agree with some of the flaws or negative points that other reviewers have made about this bag, it's hard for me to say that that takes away from the overall perfectness of this bag. But also for me, the WANDRD Prvke has a little bit of a deeper and more impactful meaning for me and my channel. So it might not have been the first ever bag that I've ever bought, because I probably went to Walmart and picked up some cheap JanSports at one point or another in my life for school. But in terms of the first bag that I ever bought that got me interested in gear reviews and backpacks in general was the WANDRD Prvke. See, it was back in 2016 that the Prvke was coming up on Kickstarter, and WANDRD was a company that nobody had heard about at this point. For me, I was looking for a backpack for once that could do a little bit more than the typical ones I had gotten at the local department store, and there was something about the WANDRD Prvke that caught my eye. At the time, I was still in the military and I never even heard of Kickstarter, let alone even dabbled with the idea of crowdfunding anything. But because the WANDRD Prvke seems so enticing and it just looked so cool for what I was about to go on adventures for, I decided to take a chance and I backed it on Kickstarter. Now we flash forward to the start of 2019 and I was getting out of the Marine Corps, and at the time the WANDRD Prvke not only had been extremely successful from its original 2016 campaign, but it had also gone through some reworks, including a nice new logo on the front that was a little bit different than the original. Now it had been about 2 years since the WANDRD Prvke shipped out to everybody that had backed it on Kickstarter. And in that 2 years, I had accumulated quite a bag collection as WANDRD Prvke kind of sparked an interest in looking at some of these other brands that were lesser known, but had that high quality factor that everybody these days is looking for. So when I say it was the bag that really started everything for me, it was not only the first bag that I actually bought that started me down my gear collecting journey, but it was also the first bag that I ever reviewed on this channel. Couple that with the fact that a couple years after that, I got lucky enough to meet the entire team behind WANDRD, which was just a surreal experience that I loved through and through. It solidified itself for me as one of the best bags I had ever gotten to use. Now, you're not really here because you want to know about why I bought this bag or how it started my channel. You're here because at the beginning and the title of this video, I said that this was a perfect bag. For one, and this might be a subjective opinion, but it looks so good. The tarpaulin material just works on this type of design. Pair it with the roll top 1680D ballistic nylon and the giant metal buckle, and you get an iconic look. If you've ever dived more than just the basic level of looking up a gear review for a certain product on YouTube, you've probably at one point or another stumbled upon or seen a photo of the WANDRD Prvke, and part of that is because it's so iconic and recognizable, and also part of that is the fact that WANDRD has really good marketing when it comes to their products. This bag is so iconic and recognizable that actually on a flight to Des Moines, Iowa, I met a tattoo artist who was sitting next to me, and after some back and forth conversation, he offered to give me a free tattoo while I was visiting town. And so after much consideration for the week I was there, I decided to solidify the WANDRD Prvke look by tattooing it on my body, and funny enough, the tattoo artist himself recognized the bag when I presented the design, which just not only shows you what a small world, but also shows you just how iconic the look of this bag truly is. But besides just the look of this bag, I believe that the WANDRD Prvke has truly mastered the thing that everybody these days is looking for, and that is comfort above anything else. I'm sure we've all bought a bag at one point or another that we thought was going to be comfortable, and on the first couple initial uses we had no issues with, but after repeated uses the straps start to dig in, become uncomfortable, and the weight of that bag, even when it's empty, starts to play a huge factor in our comfort level when we're carrying it. Then when you add the air channel in on this bag, not only do you get comfortable straps, but you also get a breathable bag, which those two things together complete the ultimate comfort factor that everybody's gonna want in their bag. The air channel in this bag has been through multiple scenarios with me, whether it be extreme hot or even extreme cold, and no matter what climate or scenario I find myself in with this bag, the comfort and the breathability on my back have never been something that have popped into my mind, because they're just so good at doing their job you don't even have to think about them. Now I know for a fact that the comfort, air channel, and durability of this bag can hold up in any situation, because I've taken this bag through about every situation you could ever imagine. I've taken it up the sand dunes 13 miles here in Colorado in 108-degree weather just to get the perfect shot. I've taken it across a suspension bridge 300 feet in the air in Washington in order to, once again, get the perfect shot. It's been in hotel rooms as my travel bag in over 15 states in 3 countries. And I've even had it in snowstorms high up in the mountains, as well as torrential downpours here down below. No matter what I have put this bag through, it has not only held up, but it has proven time and time again to not only be dependable, but also extremely durable. But there's obviously so much more to a bag than just the comfort factor, the durability, the wonderful materials, and the aesthetic of the bag. You also have what everybody also looks for, and that's the pockets and organization. The outside of the WANDRD Prvke has a nice flat long pocket on the front that at first glance might seem a little impractical, but in execution, it starts to make a lot more sense. But this pocket can be used for so much more. For the photography person, it can be used for your SD cards and your ND filter cases that are a little bit thinner. You can put things like your wallet, your phone, stands, notebooks, boarding passes, just about anything that is thinner than your average, probably like 2-inch thickness, you can fit in this, and it acts almost as if another quick access pocket. Now, yes, I do know it's a light, flat, long, thin pocket, but the more creative you can get with the items that you're bringing, the more creative you can get with the organization and pockets that are available to you. Not to mention the fact that on the side of this bag, you get another small pocket that has a key clip, which is great for keys or other small items. This is where I actually sometimes end up putting like headphones, my air tags, keys, and other items, but it's just another small pocket that adds just enough extra organization to the external that when you get to the top of the bag where the quick access that is also fleece line is, you start to see how all of these things work together. That quick access is great, even though it does eat up a little bit of the dimension on the inside, but with the flat lay pocket and the kind of like small side pocket that you get on this bag, you get 3 pretty decent external organization pockets that, for one, don't mess up the aesthetic of the bag, and for 2, serve very good purposes that are there for a specific reason and not just organization for the sake of being organization. But if you're still not completely convinced, then let's move to the inside of the bag, and this is where I truly think that the perfect title for this bag starts to shine through. Now, I know that for the most part, people using this bag are going to be using it for the photography elements, which I totally understand. But I want to say that this can be used for so much more rather than just photography and camera gear, which I'm going to explain after the photography part of this bag. Almost every camera bag these days has some kind of removable camera cube, and they come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and organization patterns. You have things like the Peter McKinnon Nomadic 22-liter camera bag, which are just like little troughs that come up and down out of the bag and don't really secure in. You have Boundary Supply, which they have on their Prima system, a small little one that kind of like buttons into the bag. And whereas the WANDRD Prvke gives you 3 different options if you're using this for photography. The first camera cube option is the one that takes up the entirety of the bag. So if you wanted to load this thing out with the most possible camera gear imaginable, you could with one of their larger camera cubes. Now, I personally have never used the larger camera cube, as I only have the medium and the small one, which we're going to talk about, but I have heard good things about the camera cubes in general from WANDRD, and the large one for this bag works really well if, like I said, you want to load it out top to bottom with nothing but camera gear. But then you move into the medium one, which is the more standard camera cube that takes up the bottom half of this bag, because not only do you get the chance to organize this camera cube however you want, but the medium one fit in the 21-liter WANDRD Prvke does a really good job of allowing you to bring just enough camera gear and still have space at the top half of the bag, whether it be for extra pouches, additional gear, maybe minimal travel stuff, whatever it might be. The medium camera cube in the WANDRD Prvke is the ultimate photography travel or photography EDC hybrid that I think you could possibly ever get. But then there's also the aspect that they have the camera cube mini, which realistically fits on the top half of the bag and is for the bare essentials of photography gear. Now, personally, this is the one that I use quite a bit when I'm traveling, because a lot of my photography and videography gear is based around travel. Things like the Pocket 3, the Osmo Action 4, DJI Mini 3 drone, and things like that. All of these smaller items work really well in a smaller camera cube, which allows the bottom half of this bag to still be utilized for something like a camera cube, pouches, EDC gear, travel, or whatever you might want it to be. But that's also why I believe the WANDRD Prvke works really well outside of its photography and camera roots, because as an EDC and travel bag, it still gives you quite a bit of options. Now, I should also say that this bag comes in a variety of sizes, from as small as 11-liter, known as their light version, the 21-liter, which is the one that we are mainly talking about, and then if you needed it a little bit bigger, they also offer it in a 31 and 41-liter version. Now, the main differences between these is the light, which is the smallest version, is missing a couple of the pockets, and the camera cube isn't removable. It's really good if you like everything kind of just set exactly how it's supposed to come. The 31 and 41 are pretty much exactly the same as the 21-liter version, just a little bit bigger. Now, granted that normally roll top bags are not something that I gravitate towards. Actually, if you look at a majority of the bags that I've reviewed on my channel, especially the ones that I say are some of my favorites, very rarely will you see one that is strictly and solely a roll top bag. But when it comes to the WANDRD Prvke, that is the main way you get into the main compartment, aside from just zipping the back panel and opening it up clamshell to get a full bird's eye view of what you have. But for whatever reason, when it comes to the roll top on this bag, it's something that makes the addition just that much better. Having that extra expandability space just gives this bag even more of an edge. Yes, to some extent, undoing the roll top, getting in and out of the top compartment can be a little bit of a hassle, but when you start to use this bag for more than what it was really intended for, like the 21-liter version, and putting something like travel gear in there, that extra roll top starts to not only become a lifesaver, but also something that you can lean on without having to worry. Now, in preparing for this video, I reached out to a couple of my bag review friends to get their opinion on the WANDRD Prvke. Now, granted, they don't say it's perfect like I am. They did have really good things to say about it, and I wanted to share those with you here.
Hello everyone and hello Odie, thank you very much for inviting me to this video. The WANDRD Prvke is a great bag, so I am honored to be part of this video. The Prvke series is the only bag that I actually own and still own and used in all sizes. I started with the 31-liter version that I brought to Indonesia for my How to Make Bags documentary. It carried my camera gear, but due to it being an amazing hybrid bag, it also carried my essentials on the flight. So all my camera gear in the camera cube in the bottom and all of my other stuff on the top in the roll top section. After I came back to Germany, I was craving for a smaller size because 31 liter was just too big for me on a daily basis. So I got the 21 liter version, but also the light version. The 21 liter has become my go-to to carry all of my camera gear, but also is a great EDC backpack once you detach the camera cube. The versatility and the cool looks, while still being very durable, makes this an easy choice for anyone who needs to carry a lot of camera gear but also wants to use it for maybe weekend trips or as a regular backpack without the camera cube. Alright, that was it from me, and thanks again for inviting me. If you want to see my detailed reviews, check out my main channel at You Know The Bone. Thank you very much.
Hey Odie and Odie fans, let's talk WANDRD Provoke real fast. This bag actually has a pretty special place in my heart because it's the first bag that I ever published a review for on my channel Nomads Nation. So we go back. And speaking of back, it's a bag that I sometimes end up going back to because there's a lot that I like about it. Not everything. I've always thought the comfort is fantastic, really well padded, really well ventilated, and I've always just liked the fit and the feel. I also love the functionality of this tote handle, and I found myself using it like more than I anticipated that I would. I'd be in backpack mode, then the bag's down, you just kind of grab like this. I mean, just these tote handles are just really convenient. But I think the biggest thing of all with this bag is the aesthetic, and it's not my aesthetic personally. I'm not crazy about the look of the bag. It's not Aaron vibes. But if it's your vibes, I totally get it. The sleek finish, the trendy hook, and in my opinion, roll tops are just the meanest looking bags on the market. Having said that, the main compartment is a little compromised for my taste. I prefer a more minimalist main compartment, and there's kind of a lot going on here, and there's a lot of stuff in the way. And as somebody who literally lives on my laptop, I usually prefer my tech compartment to be separate from the main compartment. And also the longevity of this tarpaulin material is controversial at best. But having said that, WANDRD is one of the most underrated bag makers out there, and the Provoke is a bag that definitely checks a lot of boxes. Back to you, Odie.
Huge thank you again to Ismono and Aaron from Nomads Nation for being a part of this video and sharing their thoughts on the WANDRD Provoke. If you want to see more from either of them, I will have both of their YouTube channels linked down below in the description of this video. The WANDRD Provoke is a staple of the bag community. WANDRD really did a fantastic job when it comes to the design and execution on this pack. If you're looking for a bag that can really be just about anything you want it to be, no matter what the task or where you're going, the Provoke is the bag that I will choose 10 out of 10 times.